This is a two-part video where I show my collection of vintage model kits and toys. This replaces an older video, because there were several additions to my collection which made the previous video incomplete. In this first part I'll be showing vintage Japanese model kits. I have put them in this part of the showcase. If possible, I will show the boxes and their contents. First, there is this nice kit of a Mazda Carol by LS from 1984. It is in 1/32 scale, so it's not a very big model. Here we see a few other compact car models from the series. Let's look at the contents. The parts are molded in off-white colored plastic, which has been packed in a single bag. The tires are in a separate bag, together with a pullback motor. Japanese model kits from this era usually contained a small tube of glue, which would theoretically be enough for that kit. The assembly instructions are inside the bag, so we can't look at them. The molding of the parts is of good quality and look pretty clean, so not much additional work needs to be done. The next vintage kit is a Nakajima Ki-84 model from Hasegawa, which was released in 1987. Here are a few other aircraft models printed on the side of the box. Let's open the box. Here we have the instruction leaflet with color schemes for two versions. And here are the assembly instructions on the other side. The parts and decals are sealed together in one bag, and since it's an older Japanese kit, there is of course a small tube with glue. The parts are molded in dark green and appear to be of good quality. The decal sheet contains the basic markings and a decal for the instrument panel. The next kit is of a famous magical girl from the 80s, Minky Momo. It was made by Bandai and was released in 1983. This side of the box shows the completed model. As this is a model from the 80s, the details are a bit crude. As you can see, a small robot figure is included. Let's open the box. The parts are molded in salmon-colored plastic, and a sachet of glue is included. The assembly instructions feature some cartoon drawings of Minky Momo, telling you to pay attention at certain points. Here you can see that decals are used for the eyes, so you don't have to paint them. Next we'll look at this Nitto Kit from the 80s of Shizuka Misaki from Yarak Unite. The other side shows the complete model. The outside is a sleeve, which reveals an inner box with simple assembly instructions printed on them. As you can see, there is an optional face part with a different expression. The other side shows her being a nice snack. As there are more kits to view, we'll skip looking at the parts, so we'll move on to the next one. This is a native dancer from 1982, made by Takara. It is a vehicle from the animation series Fang of the Sun Dugram. The side of the box shows the vehicle and two figures. Let's open the box. The parts are molded in khaki-colored plastic. The moldings are of good quality. In addition to the two figures, there is also a driver figure. The clear parts and decal sheet are bagged separately. The painting scheme is actually in color here, and there is a colored illustration of the vehicle. The assembly is relatively simple. On the colored side there is also an ad for a robot model kit. Okay, let's put the contents back in the box. Next is a small model kit of a Honda Accord from ODK, which came out in the late 1970s. Here you can see a few other models from that series. The back of the box contains the assembly instructions. As you can see, it is a very simple kit. Let's open the box. As expected, the number of parts isn't great. The body part is molded in yellow, there are a few chrome-plated parts and the rest of the parts are molded in black. There are 2 metal axles to connect the wheels. This kit was most likely aimed at younger children, so they could play with it after assembly. Let's put the parts back and have a look at the next model kit. This is a Honda Stream Special in 1/12 scale from Aoshima. The kit dates from 1982 and this scooter is actually a tricycle. The kit also includes a key, a helmet and a tool set. As you can see, the 80s had its fair share of unique Japanese scooters. Now let's look at the contents. At first glance it looks pretty colorful. Here is a leaflet with lovely English, containing kits from the audio series as well as various scooter models. The audio models have a lovely retro vibe to them. On the back are the various scooter and motorcycle models. The bags with parts are stapled to the box, so we can't look at them more closely, but it looks like there are black, red, clear and chrome-plated parts, as well as rubber tires and some wiring. They seem to be of good quality as well. The next model kit will be in a different category. This is a 1/150 scale model of a blue train locomotive from Aoshima. The kit dates from 1980. As you can see, There were several kits in this series. Let's check out the contents. In this bag are most of the parts, except for the wheels and outer body. The wheels and axles are in a separate bag that is stapled to the inner box. There is a stretch of straight tracks to put the model on, and the outer body has been pre-painted. The small bag also includes a decal sheet with various train logos. Next, there is a supplementary kit that includes a wagon, which can be used in combination with the previous kit. It is from the same series and is just as old. With this kit, the bag is stapled to the inner box, so we can't look at it more closely. Under the bag are the outer body and a curved stretch of tracks to put the model on. Like with the previous kit, the wheels and decal sheet are in a separate bag. Up next is this Pioneer SK900 portable radio cassette player in 1/6 scale from Aoshima, which was issued in 1982. Apparently it comes with a cassette rack, a microphone, a cassette and a mascot figure. This series has several other interesting model kits. When we open the box, we see a leaflet like we saw with the Honda Stream. Then there are the assembly instructions. The front page shows the included parts. Apparently, It is possible to install a small light bulb using included wiring and battery terminals. The bulb has to be purchased separately, and the overall assembly doesn't look too complicated. Like with other kits, the bags here are stapled to the inner box, so we can't look at them more closely, but from what we can see is that they are of good quality, and the major parts are molded in gray and clear plastic. The small top card is actually a sticker sheet with several mascot stickers, and under it you can see the decal sheet for the model. Let's put all the contents back and close the box. The next kit is from the same series and is a model of a stereo tower from the 80s, which like the previous kit came out in 1982. It consists of an amplifier, a tuner, a cassette deck, a microphone, a cassette tape, a speaker set, a record player and an LP record with sleeve. There were several stereo set models available. Let's have a look inside. This kit has the same color leaflet with various kits which we have already looked at. Then there are the assembly instructions. Like with the previous kit, you can also make it to be illuminated from the inside. The assembly is again pretty straightforward, and it looks like the cassette holder and record player cover are movable. There is also a small mascot figure included with this kit. Like with the previous kit, the bags with parts are stapled to the inner box. On top is a small bag with the wiring, metal parts and a tube of glue. The parts appear to be molded in gray, black and clear plastic, and you can see the cardboard record sleeve. Under it you can see a small sticker sheet. Okay, let's close the box. Up next is a Yamaha Passetta moped from EMI. It dates from 1981 and apparently it cost 400 yen at the time. The series has several other interesting bike and moped models. Okay, let's have a look at the contents. The bags are held together by a colorful cardboard strip with a picture of the model. This time, only one bag can be taken out. This is the bag that contains the chrome-plated parts and a piece of vinyl tubing. The molding looks pretty clean with no excess plastic. At the bottom of the box are the assembly instructions, which don't seem to be too difficult. The other bags are stapled to the inner box, and as you can see, the parts are molded in red and white plastic. There is a separate bag containing the rubber tires and a tube of glue. All in all, it looks like a fun little kit. Next, we have this Toyopack Corona Mark II from Nitto Kit, which was actually a domestic division of Toyota. This model can be motorized in a clever way, we'll get to that in a minute. With this model, both doors, the hood, and trunk can be opened. Alright, let's open the box. The instruction manual begins with a visual parts list, which includes both plastic and non-plastic parts. With this model, an electric motor is hidden inside the engine block. Quite clever. The transmission gears are also hidden, in this case inside the drive shaft and differential housing. The battery compartment is in the trunk area, and a switch is mounted underneath the car. A lot is movable with this kit, like the back rests of the front seats, there is working suspension and steerable front wheels, and of course the doors, trunk and hood. Now let's look at the parts. Here we have the chrome-plated parts, like bumpers and wheel hubs. There is a small bag with red transparent parts, coil springs and the components for the electrics. There are black parts which include the seats and engine block. The movable body panels are yellow. Here are the clear parts like windows and headlights. There are a few more frames with black parts for the interior and the suspension. I bought this electric motor separately to complete this kit. The correct type was still available. The body shell and chassis plate are separate pieces in yellow and black. Here they have clicked together, but can easily be separated. Of course, there is a small tube of glue, which is basically standard in Japanese model kits from this time period. This one actually has a label, which shows that this is a high-end model. Lastly, a blister pack contains the tires and transmission parts. Okay, let's put everything back. This is a 1/20 scale model of a Renault 16 from Union model. It was issued in 1985 and I actually made one of these back in the days. As you can see, all doors can be opened, as well as the hood and rear hatch. This Japanese kit is quite rare, and I'm happy that I managed to find one. Let's have a look inside the box. Here we have the main body part. The Renault 16 had two different wheelbases because it had transverse torsion bars for suspension in the back. This has been faithfully reproduced in the model, because the left rear wheel arch is located further to the back. Here is the bag with tires. It looks like there is a spare one present. The bags with the clear parts, chrome-plated parts and engine parts are stapled to the inner box. Fortunately, the last bag isn't, so let's have a look. The door panels and a few interior parts are molded in white. If we flip over the bag, we see the wheel parts and more interior parts molded in dark gray. Lastly, we have the assembly instructions. It shows all the parts, followed by a few tips for assembly. The assembly itself is pretty straightforward. There are quite a few small and delicate parts, so you need to be careful during assembly. I really like that you can open all the doors with this model. Here you can see the rear suspension with the transverse torsion bars. It looks like this has been exposed to sunlight for quite a while. It is not a Japanese car, but when I saw this kit, I just had to buy it. Next, we'll check out a Hino Contessa model from LS. This 1/32 scale kit was released in 1985. It's a simple box with a few other models from the series printed on the side. When we open the box, there is the main body part in a bag. The Contessa was a rear-engine two-door coupe. The other bag contains all the other parts, including rubber tires, a small tube of glue, decals and the assembly manual. Since it is sealed, we can't look at it closer, but the quality of the parts seems to be good. Here is a small model of a Yamaha TX750 in 1/24 scale. It is from 1974 and it was made by Sunny. The parts are in a single bag and are molded in black, red and gray. A small decal sheet is also present. Since this is a smaller kit, the assembly instructions are printed on the inside of the box lid. This is not a problem since there aren't many parts, so the instructions would be compact anyways. To end this section, there are a few fun kits from the 1980s, like this walk mate from Marui. It is basically a wind-up toy and was one of many variants, which are printed on both sides of the box. As expected, there are only 7 parts, including the wind-up motor. With this kit, glue and paint is not needed, so it is just a matter of simply assembling it, following the assembly instructions printed on the inside of the box lid. Then there is this Robo-Dachi from Imai, which came out in the 1980s. Let's just say it was a different time. At least this one is supposed to be green. When we open the box, we can see that the parts are molded in multiple colors like red, yellow, blue and brown. The model requires painting, and like with the previous kit, the assembly is rather simple. The wind-up motor and decals are within a separate blister. With this kit, the first showcase has been reviewed. In the next video I will review my vintage collection of Matchbox kits and a few vintage Japanese kits, along with some vintage toys. Hope to see you there.